Allmendinger will be making his NASCAR Cup Series return at the Daytona road course. Landon Castle will be going full-time with JD Motorsports in 2021. And it looks like NBCSN is going to be shutting down after 2021. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. We got a lot of NASCAR stories to discuss here today on the channel. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. The first story we're going to talk about is some sponsorship news. The first thing we're going to look at is Mark Truex Jr.'s 2021 auto owner scheme. It looks a little bit different than past auto owner schemes, but regardless, I've been a huge fan of the auto owner schemes, especially since Mark Truex Jr.'s had it for I think since 2018. He's had this scheme for the last couple years. I've really liked the schemes that have come from auto owners and from Joe Gibbs as well that they've shown for auto owners, and I think that this scheme overall looks really excellent. The next pace team we're going to take a look at is Echo Twist, as they are going to sponsor Spencer Boyd in the 2021 NASCAR Truck Series season. Now, it wasn't clarified on what amount of races he will have Echo Twist in 2021, but he will have Echo Twist for a select number of races in 2021. It seems like Spencer Boyd is a sponsorship magnet because he does have already a few sponsors announced, and I'm wondering what other sponsors are going to be sponsoring Spencer Boyd headed into 2021. This story is something we're going to have to continue following headed into 2021. On to the next story, we're going to be talking about Kyle Larson once again on the channel, as we officially have confirmation on his 2021 fire suit. And I have to say the fire suit, actually, I really like it a lot. It looks like HendrickCars.com is going to be the majority sponsor on the car, and it looks blue. So to me, it's going to probably look a little bit similar to what William Byron's car looked like last year with HendrickCars.com. It also gives me a little bit of vibes toward what Ricky Hendrick's car looked like when he raced in the Busch Series and what Brian Vickers had as well. I like the fire suit a lot. It looks really, really cool. And I know there's probably possibly more sponsors that could be coming from inside sources that I know. And I like this a lot. I do like the fire suit quite a bit. I think it's a really good fire suit. On to the next story. We're going to be talking about Jeff Green, as he will be the crew chief for Kyle Sieg in the NASCAR, in the ARCA Series in 2021, which means that Jeff Green will not be a race car driver in 2021 unless he gets an opportunity to race in NASCAR Xfinity Series, maybe like the 48 car. But he confirmed himself that he's probably not going to be racing at all in 2020 as he works with Kyle Sieg, who is Ryan Sieg's either brother or his cousin. So Jeff Green will be a crew chief in 2021. He's worked with Ryan RSS Racing for the last couple years. It's no surprise that Jeff Green will be working with them in 2021 as a crew chief and continue his work with RSS Racing in 2021. On to the next story. RSS Racing has formed a partnership with the Rayun Brothers Racing organization, and they will have a number 23 car, which is, they haven't actually announced a manufacturer. You know that RSS Racing is going to be a Ford manufacturer in 2020 instead of Chevy manufacturer like they were in 2020. They'll be moving over to Ford in 2021. Now, Rayun Brothers is going to be preparing these cars, not RSS Racing. So like I said, this is a partnership, Rayun Brothers headed into 2021. A rumor driver that I've been hearing is Blake Jones. A couple nights ago on NASCAR Reddit, it was shown that Blake Jones was actually next to a number 23 car. And as it was announced yesterday, the Rayun Brothers are going to be possibly having Blake Jones take over this car. And the number 23 car is officially back. It gives me BK Racing vibes, which BK Racing is not a great team, if we're going to be honest. And they were kind of a fraudulent team, honestly. But it is cool that there are more teams that are going to be joining the NASCAR Xfinity Series headed into 2021. And I wonder what manufacturer, and I wonder if it's going to be Blake Jones confirmed or not. But I do think that Blake Jones will end up driving his car in 2021. On to the next story. We're going to be talking about DJR Racing's driver and crew chief lineup headed into 2021. Tanner Gray will be returning to the 15 car. And Shane Wilson is going to be the crew chief for Tanner Gray once again in 2021, like he was in 2020. Hailie Deegan will be moving over from the number 17 truck, which we reported this a couple days ago. She'll be moving over to the number 1 truck, and Mike Hillman Jr., who was Rafael Lessard's crew chief in 2020, will be moving over from Cabo Motorsports over to crew chief Hailie Deegan in 2021. One big change that is going to be taking place is that Taylor Gray is going to be making select starts in the NASCAR Truck Series for DGR in 2021, and he'll be working with Kyle Larson's former crew chief, Chad Johnson, headed into 2021. Now, Taylor Gray is going to run 7 races in 2021, and he'll make his first start at Richmond International Speedway. Now, there is a little bit of confusion in regards to Taylor Gray making his first truck start because a lot of people question it because Taylor Gray is only 15 years old. So people are thinking, Taylor Gray is only 15 years old. He can't make his first truck series start, right? Well, Taylor Gray turned 16 years old on March 25th, and the Richmond race is still not till April 17th. So it makes a lot of sense that Taylor Gray is going to be getting a lot of experience for 2021. Good luck to all these drivers headed into 2021, and I cannot wait to see DGR in 2021. On to the next story. We're going to be talking to stage lengths for the next couple races after Daytona Speedway. They already announced the Daytona Speedway stage lengths for all those races. Now we have confirmation on all the stage lengths for the Cup Series, Xfinity Series, and the Truck Series for the next 4 weekends after the first race. So, Homestead in Vegas for the Cup Series are going to be, the first 2 stages are going to be 80 laps, and then the last stage is going to be 107 laps. Phoenix is going to be 75 laps for the first stage, 115 laps for the second stage, and then 122 laps for the final stage. And then Atlanta is going to be 105 laps each for the first 2 stages, and then 115 laps for the final stage. For the Xfinity Series, Homestead is going to be, both the first stages are going to be 40 laps, and then the final stage is going to be 87 laps. Vegas and Phoenix are going to have the first 2 stages 45 laps, and then the final stage is going to be 110 laps. And then Atlanta is going to be 40, then 40, then 83 for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. And then the Truck Series is going to have Vegas, which will have both of the first 2 stages 30 laps, and then the final stage is going to be 74 laps. And then Atlanta for the Truck Series will be 2 of the first 2 stages is going to be 30 laps, and then the final stage is going to be 70 laps. Basically, it's going to be kind of similar to what it was last year, so there's really no changes in regards to the stages headed into 2021. We're going to now go ahead and transition to all the stories that have happened today, and there's some pretty big ones. Let's first talk about the next-gen car a little bit once again. Josh Hamilton gave us a little bit of the show car that they've used for the last couple tests, and he actually gave us a glimpse at what the next-gen car could be looking like for 2021. Actually 2022, excuse me. Keep this in mind that there is 5 luminous on the car, and this is not the car that they're going to use. But there are quite a few things that I do like about this car. I like the medium-sized spoiler, and I hope that that is the way they're going because it's going to help the racing overall. And the car is overall more off the ground, which brings air below, and the diffuser is supposed to help overall downforce and air as well in the car, which should be able to help the racing. The only thing I really don't like about this next-gen car is the number placement. I've been saying this, if you move the number to the rear, you're basically going to remove the number's availability on the car as much. And you won't be, yes, of course, it's supposed to help sponsorship, but I don't think it makes sense to move the car close to the rear. I want it to basically stay in the middle. If you keep the number where it's been for the last couple of years, I think, well, for the last like 67 years, I think it will look overall a lot better, and I think that the next-gen car absolutely looks perfect. Now, keep this in mind, this is not the final product of the car, so there may be still coming, but this might be what the car could at least be looking like heading into 2022 when the next-gen car is revealed. On to the next story. Tyler Reddick is not going to be able to use a championship pass provisional to get into the NASCAR Xfinity Daytona race that he'll be racing. He is supposed to be racing the 03 car for Our Motorsports, so he'll be expanding to 2 cars in 2021. Now, the reason Tyler Reddick is not eligible for this is because he did not race in 2020. And to be able to use a past championship provisional in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, you would have had to race in 2020, or you had to race in the previous year to be eligible for the past championship provisional. Because of that, Tyler Reddick is going to have to qualify in the event. Now, Reddick is a pretty decent super speedway racer, though he did make that mistake at Daytona at the cutoff race for the championship in the Cup Series. Tyler Reddick, I do expect him probably to have a shot at making it, especially if the 03 car has the RCR backing. Those cars generally make it, though. College Racing last year at Daytona, when they tried to qualify, they completely had bombshell fire, and the 10 and 16 did not end up making the race. So hopefully, Tyler Reddick is able to get in the NASCAR Xfinity Daytona race, but he will not be able to get in with the provisional, and he will have to for sure qualify into the event. On to the next story. We're going to talk about Kelley Blue Book, as they are going to be extending their partnership with Hendrick Motorsports through the 2022 season, and they will be sponsoring Chase Elliott for the fall Richmond races and the Texas races. So that's 2 more races that Chase Elliott has for sure full sponsorship. I do expect Chase Elliott, by the way, to have full sponsors for every single race in 2021. Again, Kelley Blue Book has been working with the team since around 2013, 2014. They started off with Jeff Gordon, to my knowledge, and then they moved over to Chase Elliott when Chase Elliott moved up to the Cup Series in 2016. Carr overall looks really good from what I've seen. Again, that's 2 more races that Chase Elliott has sponsorship, and Kelley Blue Book continues to partner up with Hendrick Motorsports through the 2022 season. On to the first major story of this episode. Landon Castle is going to be going full-time with JD Motorsports in the 2021 season, and he'll be driving the number 4 car full-time for that team in 2021. So he becomes the 3rd full-time driver for JD Motorsports in 2021. I cannot tell you how excited I am that Landon Castle is going to be going full-time with JD Motorsports in 2021. I think Landon Castle is an extremely talented driver. He's been able to show his ability over the last couple years, and he was actually starting to help Starcom Racing when they were starting to get up running. He was really helping that team start to get above that edge, and they were starting to show more top 35 speed, and they were getting close to being a top 30 team. But at the end of 2019, he was, in my opinion, not in the rightful way. Let go from Starcom Racing. I think sponsorship issues is really what was the key. And Quinn Houff ended up replacing him. And Landon Castle had made select starts in the NASCAR Xfinity Series for the number 89 team for Morgan Shepherd Racing, but he did not really race that much in 2020 for the 89 team. I think that Landon Castle honestly has a really good shot of making the NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs. Yes, the competition is still pretty tough in NASCAR Xfinity this year, and it has gotten a little tougher with some of the teams coming, but also you have a couple of the big players now returning the NASCAR Xfinity Series, guys like Ross Chastain and Chase Briscoe who dominated the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and unlike Jesse Little in that 4 car, I think Landon Castle is going to get the best out of that equipment headed in 2021. Landon Castle, I think, absolutely deserves the opportunity, and he has raced with JD Motorsports in the past, so this is nothing new. He has returned. He's basically like returning to the team, though he's basically going full-time. He hasn't raced with JD Motorsports full-time, to my knowledge, I think since around 2015, 2016. He was also making select Cup starts as well around that time, but I think Landon Castle overall is going to do a lot of great things with JD Motorsports in 2021, and I'm really glad to see that Landon Castle is going to be coming back full-time. This is really awesome, and good luck to Landon Castle headed into 2021 NASCAR Xfinity Series season. On to the next story. AJ Allmendinger is going to be making his NASCAR Cup Series return at the Daytona Road Course, and he will be driving the number 16 car for Kaulig Racing headed into 2021. This absolutely makes a ton of sense that Kaulig Racing is going to be having AJ Allmendinger run the Daytona Road Course. So the rest of the races for that team have not been announced currently. We know that Kaz Gralla is going to be driving a 16 car for them at Daytona. He'll have to attempt to qualify in for that event. But AJ Allmendinger is going to be making his NASCAR Cup Series return at the Daytona Road Course. AJ Allmendinger, for those who don't know, is a fantastic road course racer. And I think that AJ Allmendinger actually will do very well if the Kaulig cars are able to bring a lot of speed. Now, remember, they're basically going to be working with RCR in 2021 because they're basically moving into one of the RCR shops. They're going to be basically taking over one of their Germain Racing shops. We know that Trackhouse taking one of their shops. We know that Kaulig Racing is moving into one of their Germain Racing shops. So this makes a ton of sense for AJ Allmendinger to be racing with them in 2020. Like I said, he is a fantastic road course racer. I think, honestly, Dinger has a really good shot of having a good run. If, of course, they are able to get the Hendrick ECR engines, which I believe they are, because most of the Chevy teams and RCR is partnering up with them, so most of the Chevy teams are going to be getting major Chevy upgrades. The Dinger man, if he can, I think he could honestly have a shot for possibly a win. He's very experienced at this track. The Dinger, I believe, arguably has the most experience at this racetrack. I mean, he's racing so many Rolex 24s in the last 10 to 20 years that I think he's arguably going to have the most experience in this. Of course, they're probably going to be end up using that chicane once again, so that's going to be a little different. But the last time he raced here, except making a mistake, he was having basically a near perfect run and was in contention with Austin Cindric most of the day in the Xfinity Series with Kaulig Racing. He wasn't even running full-time at that moment. But the Dinger man in 2021 coming back to the Cup Series is extremely exciting. Again, I think the Dinger arguably, if they are able to get really fast cars and are able to show speed, I think that the Dinger realistically has a shot at least for a top 10, but you never know. He could contend with Chase Elliott and Mark Truex Jr. and those guys and Denny Hamlin for that win. We'll have to see what happens in 2021, but this is really exciting. And welcome back, AJ Allmendinger, to the NASCAR Cup Series for 2021. And now we're getting on to the final major story of this episode. NBCSN looks like is going to be shutting down at the end of 2021, and some NASCAR Cup Series races are going to be moving to USA Network, which is a brand with NBC. Now, this has basically been reported for about a month that NBCSN was probably going to be shutting down at the end of 2021, and this actually ends up affecting things like NASCAR, the NHL, motocross, I think, gets affected by this as well. I think MotoGP also gets affected by this as well. But NASCAR is expected, along with other brands like NHL, to move up. Now, overall, some people think that this is overall the worst move in the world. To me, this isn't the worst move in the world, but it is concerning for motorsports overall because the big NASCAR Cup Series events, if they are to be moved over to USA Network, they're only going to be showing the big events. They're not going to show practice. They're not going to show qualifying. Most of those are probably going to end up on NBC Sports Gold, which that is really unfortunate. They have to put on NBC Sports Gold because things are going to have to go behind a paywall. I don't remember how much NBC Sports Gold is, but I think it's really concerning that some people have to buy practice qualifying for probably NBC Sports Gold. Now, to me, I think that all NASCAR Cup Series races should be on the main NBC network. Even though USA Network does bring more viewers in, USA Network has about 90 to 91 million viewers, cable users, I should say, compared to NBCSN, which is only available currently at the moment to about 74 million cable users at the moment. Again, this is very interesting because whatever motorsport is able to get first on deck with this, they are basically going to be the sport that leads motorsports overall for the next 20 to 30 years because whatever sport gets on this first is going to be in major, major hands. Now, again, I think that in my personal opinion, I just wish there was a way for, like, we could have another speed channel because NBCSN was headed in that direction of becoming the second version in the rebirth of the speed channel. And I wish there was a possibility we could bring the speed channel back. And I think that NASCAR should overall do that. But again, NBCSN is shutting down at the end of the year. I think now there really is no excuse. You need to move every single Cup race if you can and work with the NFL, which is really going to be hard to work with the NFL, truthfully. But I think that there needs to be where NBC can find a way to get as many Cup races in 2022 with TV negotiations and move it up. As for IndyCar, I really don't know what the future is for IndyCar. Their contract ends at the end of the 2021 season, but I do think it's very likely that IndyCar is probably going to get an extension after 2020. There's rumors that they're probably going to end up getting an extension. I don't really see them leaving, but IndyCar and IMSA is probably going to be screwed, and they're probably going to be moved behind a paywall. NASCAR, I don't think is going to be in as much of trouble, I should say, but you're not going to get practice qualifying because, like I said, they're probably going to end up being moved behind a paywall, and they're going to end up being like on NBC Sports Gold, and they're probably going to be promoting Peacock as well. I would assume some of those events are going to be on Peacock as well, which, I mean, they don't really have that many people that use Peacock at the moment, so that's going to be something really interesting to follow. I don't know what the schedule will be looking in 2022, and you have to think about this too. TV contract negotiations are going to be starting only about 2 or 3 years down the road. I really think a lot of events are going to be moving over to CBS. I think NASCAR and CBS would basically be the way to go, but TV negotiations are only going to be starting about 2 or 3 years down the road. So this is something we're going to have to watch going forward into 2021. This is arguably one of the biggest stories of 2021. Anyway, that is going to be for today's NASCAR news video. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel, notifications so you be notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Link in the description below for that, and comment your thoughts on today's video. What are your thoughts about Landon Castle returning full-time to JD Motorsports in the NASCAR Xfinity Series? Let me know in comments below. What are your thoughts about AJ Allmendinger returning to NASCAR Cup Series to make his return for Daytona Road Course? Let me know in comments below. And what are your thoughts about USA Network probably picking up some Cup Series races in 2021? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you like it so YouTube can recommend more of these great videos out to you guys. If you do that, I greatly appreciate it. Like I said, follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Links in the description below for that. Anyway, guys, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.